Get you some money, you're gonna feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this is the short version. You know, get you a couple dollars, man. You're gonna feel different.
Nice little net hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Oh, my mama. This little Durk situation got to moving so much. I just heard OTF Jam, like his name took over, and it seemed like he was all bad. Then it seemed like the controversy turned into Lil Durk's lawyer saying, hey, all these claims that he's making, the way he's trying to implicate Lil Durk, he's already admitted to the meat and potatoes, and he's trying to give y'all a motive that leads back to Lil Durk. And from what I understand, and I haven't paid no attention, this is just from my peripheral of hearing people's comments and not really even hearing. This is just reading headlines. So you can misguide me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Lil Durk's attorney made the announcement like, look, this dude said he did it. And although he said that, hey, my client is his motivation for doing it, I can see a whole nother motivation. He admitted it. Hey, we can't do nothing about that. But the motivation he's giving you is incorrect. And there's an obvious motivation right here lying within the story. And they trying to make Lil Durk a snitch for that. That's bullshit. Let these YouTube goofy academics, and I wasn't referring to, no pun intended, I'm talking about these academic types, really have a conversation on a murder for a hired gangster. Man, free Lil Durk. Oh, my mama, if this dude is, man, stop it, knock it off. But I saw Big Ant, the ghetto spokesman, have a title say OTF Jam says Durk never paid him. So I'm saying maybe, first I was thinking like, oh, okay, doing a twist, a Lil Woody. But no, maybe he's saying he was hired and never got paid, and maybe that's why he's so willing to cooperate. But we finna check this video out. I know it's a whole lot being said about this dude. We just jumping in the middle, but we gonna check this particular segment out. Oh, my mama.
To a clothing store in Beverly Hills, and there Hester testified that they were on the phone talking about how they were worried that door of the clothing store.
See, that's the slow tardy shit. Y'all niggas ain't been rich that long. Y'all just got that kind of money. Y'all ain't had no idea who was y'all LA Connect. Y'all should have been downtown in the alley or at somebody's swap meet, man. What the f was y'all doing in Beverly Hills at designer stores buying beanies, ski masks, and shit like that for the mission? That was boo-boo.
Store had an automatic lock on it, and they didn't want to be stuck, but they allegedly considered going inside and shooting Quando Rondo there, gas station. And that is when he described Lindsay jumping out of the car, moving very quickly. So him and Keith Jones were following.
So imagine him sending her in there to talk to you. You've been sitting in this cell stressing. And she come there like, hey, might even touch you on your knee or your shoulder, offer you a snack, might even order you something that smell good, might not. Don't take all that. But look, you're looking at 28 years. We know this and that, and he this and that. And if you're willing to help us to put this together on him, that 28 could be 13, maybe 12, even 10 or less. That be the motivation for most cats to let it all off their chest. Oh, my mama.
After, and he said he was expecting, he said he's used to, this is a quote, he's used to walking on people. And so he was expecting, he testified, to get closer to Quando Rondo before they committed this shooting. But he said he was surprised. He didn't expect Lindsay to start shooting so quickly and so far away. So Lindsay, he said, threw him off. And then they all began shooting at this black Escalade, and testified to it just being a very chaotic scene. He said at one point he felt like Lindsay may have fallen over. Lindsay was shouting at Jones for shooting too close to his head, which is
in my head is just so hard to imagine how you go from being involved in that type of activity to then detailing it to the people, to the authority. Ooh, they don't, that's what I'm saying, cause real is rare. You sticking to the script, it's a lonely road. Man, free all my real ones. Ooh, that's crazy. Niggas don't have their mind made up when they start playing the game, bro.
Something that the gun expert had also mentioned, that it looked like someone had gotten shocked by the blast of the gun next to his head. Then he talks about getting back into the Infinity. He testifies to DeAndre Wilson being on the phone with Banks, who he calls Blood, and he says he heard Blood's voice. Wilson was asking the group questions about who shot who, where they were at, wanting details from what happened, and he testified that Durk was also asking these questions to Wilson. He testifies to once he got back home, he left San Diego, he felt very mad. He felt like the shooting had nothing to do with him. He called it, quote, sloppy. He said, in my eyes, this guy was innocent, and he didn't know.
He telling this to the people, y'all. It's a stone cold shooter, killer, gangster. But leave this shit alone, man.
At that point, he testified that it was Robinson who was hit. But he said even Quando Rondo, like, he had nothing to do with this beef. He didn't know King Von very well. He didn't know Quando Rondo. He didn't feel involved, and that came up a lot. He said he had a lot of negative feelings towards that.
He go through all that and express this shit after the fact. Man, you should have thought of that beforehand and not even been part of the plan. That's crazy.
He also said he felt Durk was, quote, selfish in asking him to be a part of this, or having him be a part of this, allegedly. And then he also has this quote where he said it's his first time being a free father to my son. And he testifies about how he just didn't feel good about what happened afterwards. He testified, his last testimony was that he was never offered payment before committing the shooting. That was like a big deal in the courtroom. That was
that's gonna help Durk. That gotta be something, at least a mitigating thought. He was never offered payment, then what was you doing? And you was doing all this without feeling involved? What was your motivation in if you wasn't offered payment?
Very dramatic note to end on. When we were brought back, he did say he said there was payment, it was afterwards, and he testified there was discussion about payment after the murder was committed. He also testified to being in a music video called Federal Freestyle, where he was paid $10,000 to be in that music video. And he had never been in a music video, never been on an album before. And the prosecution asked him, do you think you would have been able to be in that video if you weren't a part of this shooting? And he said no, and he even testified he didn't think he would have ever been around.
You know how backwards that is? Once you have a confirm, you're supposed to be going the opposite way of the cameras, especially putting as much distance from you and the person. These dudes is moving goofy as fuck. Ski way.
But back to the music video, it seemed to be implied that this music video may have been the payment, the way of paying him for the shooting. The alleged murder to hire is coming into.
So now you admitting or insinuating that you went out for a 10-piece. 10 cents.
Went to the moment where Hester decided he wanted to be a snitch. He wanted to come forward. He discussed a somewhat guilty conscience because he didn't feel like the murder of Robinson was justified. He wasn't involved. He called him again. He said he was innocent. He said, this is a quote, "It was weighing on me."
That's crazy because that's how Scarface fucked up. On some simple ass petty conscious shit. Bro, if you're gonna allow your conscience to fuck with you like that, you don't supposed to be involved in these type of activities. You gotta know how to turn that knob all the way off. It's gonna be a possibility of mishaps. You crumble like this, you wasn't cut for it, cuz. This shit crazy. This shit, wow.
And I saw the opportunity.
A killer with a conscience, imagine that.
He was arrested in 2023 on a completely unrelated charge. He was on probation for that 12-year stint he had in jail, and he was pulled over with a gun in his car, violated his probation, went back to jail, and that is when he passed along a note that was shown in court that said, "I know about murders. I don't want to talk on camera. I know a lot. So essentially that is how we are told he is connected then to
Think that, compare that to Big Hit Boy Daddy, who ain't got no problem getting back into the system during his time. People be made different, boy.
To this case, to being a cooperator. And right before we broke for lunch, the prosecution asked him, how do you feel about Durk? What are your feelings like towards Durk Banks? And he says, this may be hard to believe because of what I'm doing, but he says he has a lot of love for Durk. He said that
something about them Chicago niggas, boy. Oh my mama, way back in like 1999. It's a nigga named Michael Lambert from Chicago. He should be about 54 years old right now. And he had a case with my cousin Clarence. They went to the feds over like making checks, getting some money back in the day. And he had been my cousin's best friend since 91. They went to college together in Alabama at Oakwood College. And I touched down at Huntsville, Alabama in 93. So from 93, he became my best friend too. I ended up going to the pen. While I'm in the pen, my cousin, they called him Compton, his real name Clarence, him and Mike, who the same age, I'm a little younger than them, and some other cats, they started getting real money with this check shit. My cousin Clarence, he is square with it. He would never have gotten involved in this type of shit had he not been dealing with certain people. They was going to state to state with the checks like niggas used to go at the side. This nigga named Michael Lambert used to tell us that his uncle owned that lustrous pink oil shit. They used to go and come in that S-curl. He used to tell us that Empire was a part of his family. This for anybody in Chicago in that age bracket that might never knew this nigga did this snake ass slithery shit. When I was on G Unit and we used to come to the radio station out there, I used to talk about it on the radio. I put a post up about it on my Instagram a few years ago. He got that motherfucker snatched down immediately. But anyway, he got on the stand against my cousin and they did the same thing and said, I thought you told me this your best friend. How you feel? That nigga cried on the stand and said, I still consider him a friend. Bitch ass nigga. Nigga knew you was foul as soon as you got the calling a nigga from the feds. Once you got gaffled and you got the calling Compton from the feds, nigga knew you was all bad. Asking questions about what you gonna do. You mean what I'm gonna do? Nigga, what's up with you Chicago niggas?
He knows this go away, but he still has a lot of love for him, and he just doesn't have any respect for him.
Yo.
Shout out Big Ant. Appreciate you for letting me borrow that, man. That's crazy. I want to see what OTF had been up to. Thought it was some redeeming activities from the title, but it wasn't. He ain't shit. Little Durk in trouble, but he might got action. Just because you gotta always keep that out, but it don't look like it. Look like they finna cook cuz.
Get you some money, you're gonna feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this is the short version. You know, get you a couple $, man. You're gonna feel different.
Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.